Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? How's it, Sharif? How's it, Stanley? How's it, Zypher? Hope we're all doing well. Hope we all had a good weekend. Just looking at gold here. I am in a trade based on the 4 hour. Entry taken at the break of this 4 hour high. So hopefully this carries on going up. That's what I'm hoping for. How are we all doing, guys? Hope we all had a really good weekend. Sorry about the lack of streams towards the end of last week. I think I did mention I had family here, so they all were leaving and just had quite a lot on. I was traveling a little bit on Friday as well, so sorry about that. I will get into some chart breakdown now, guys, some analysis, just waiting to see if a couple more people rock up, and then we will get into it. Otherwise, yeah, just give it like 2 minutes. Also currently in a gold buy, so hopefully that plays us as well. I'll talk you through the gold buy quickly, guys. So obviously we have had a pretty bullish start to the week. You can see what ended up happening was we had this 4 hour range which was going on, which if you drop down to low time frames, price was ranging a little bit here, especially towards the end of the range. We were respecting that resistance level, respecting the support level. What then ended up happening was we formed this strong bullish support here, and it closed above our 4 hour resistance level. The following 4 hour candle wicked down. So this candle, we also need to remember, respected the low of the previous 4 hour candle, indicating that lack of bearish presence in the markets. And then because of the strong body close and the close above this 4 hour resistance level, that indicates that, okay, the 4 hour resistance level isn't holding, and we probably aren't going to respect it if we now go and break the high of this 4 hour candle over here. That's exactly what we did. We wicked down, giving us if we're basing this on the 4 hour time frame, giving us a stop loss more or less and a retest of this overall resistance area, and basically on the lower time frames turning this into support. So that's resistance turn support, so basically your break and retest. And then what ended up happening was we then started pushing bullish and breaking the high of this 4 hour candle. What's up, Nick, Easy, and Rourke? What's up, boys? So yeah, very easy entries. I did get in a little bit later, probably at about this level over here. It's pushed quite a lot already, so obviously if it does start coming back down, I'm gonna have to manage the risk. Shouldn't be too hectic. Stop loss is below this level, so the stop loss pips wise is about 20 pips. So a little bit of risk on the table, probably a bit more than usual, but it is starting a new week. Had a good week last week, can't complain. I am recording a video, guys, about the breakdown of the 7,000 pound trade that I made on Friday last week, that GJ sell, basically catching this whole move down. It was at this level over here. I will be posting that probably the end of today, end of tomorrow, and then we can go through that as well a little bit later on stream today. How's it, Alessandra? How are you doing? Let's get into breaking down. It is also, guys, it's a bank holiday in the US, so we do need to be aware that there could be some low volume on all dollar related pairs. Just something to keep in mind. So if you are trading gold, I just saw a really good setup, which 9 times out of 10 I would take. So also based on the higher time frames, often a lot more confirmation on the higher time frames, so decided to take it. It is obviously a holiday a bank holiday in the US, which can often indicate less volume. I'll do a breakdown on GJ first, and then we can get onto gold. Obviously just keeping an eye on gold as well, to see if it does anything. So towards the end of last week, you guys saw we had that very strong bearish day, which was on Friday. You can see the weekly, we have now respected the previous level of weekly resistance. This is something which I said last week, Monday. I said we literally closed on a resistance level. There's a very good chance that what's going to happen is the beginning of the week is going to be bullish, and then towards the end of the week, we're going to get that respect of that level and then continue bearish. You can see that's exactly what we did. We had a very similar situation previously, but at the weekly support level, you can see we came down to the weekly support level, respected that support level, and then continued pushing up and corrected this whole move up. So what we can be looking at is now, obviously, if we don't go and break these weekly highs, what we can be looking at is if we break these weekly lows, we can begin to start scaling into moves, looking at the long term to get back down to this level. Because at the moment, we are in this weekly range. We established that before Christmas last year. So need to be aware of that, of course. And obviously understand that now we have formed weekly resistance on a previous level of weekly resistance, which kind of played into the buys on Friday, which I'll also explain to you guys. Structure on GJ at the moment is bullish though, guys. I did talk about it on the Telegram group earlier, but on the weekly we are bearish. Obviously we look at the previous weekly candle and the previous weekly candle close bearish. So our structure on the weekly is bearish. On the daily, our structure is still bullish. Sorry, this is a 4 hour. On the daily, our structure is still bullish. You can see we maintained this bullish structure since the 20th of October. So we've been in this bullish market structure for ages. We need to get a close below that level to basically be bearish in market structure. So all of this bullish market structure, and we will be until we either create a new high or get below this level. So daily is bullish in market structure. Something very important to look at on the daily, guys, is you can see where we got to on Friday. We got to a previous level of daily support. That's why I rejected it so hard. You know, we tapped into this region. We know daily support's a very strong level, and we rejected it. And then that's why towards the end of Friday, then we started pushing up again. And you can see now we are forming some daily support. So obviously what could start happening is we do start ranging on the daily. You can see almost forming a bit of a daily range over there. You need to be careful of that, of course. Otherwise, what I would like to see is us get back down to these support levels. This is me thinking long term, and then breaking through these support levels and then heading down to these. And this is where we're going to get that long term, those long term sells I was telling you guys about on the weekly if we do end up breaking this weekly low. So that's what I'll be looking for if we start obviously getting some more lower time frame market structure bearish. You know, at the moment all our lower time frame market structure is bullish. You can see how bullish we've been to start this week off. We are now bullish on the 4 hour. This was our low created by this point over here, and we got the 4 hour candle close above that level. So we're now bullish on the 4 hour as well. So our daily is bullish, 4 hours bullish, weekly is obviously bearish. You can see on the 4 hour we are currently at a 4 hour level of resistance, so we do need to see a break above that level, and then I think there's a good chance that we can maybe continue up to cover this clear range over here. Obviously drop down to the low time frames to then see if we can find some lower time frame clean candles as well to trade into. Otherwise, you know, it's not going to be as easy as it looks on the high time frames. Okay, gold is pushing very nicely, so I'm probably going to end up securing some of my position over here. Okay, so that's a good start to the week. I will post that on Instagram for you guys to see, probably after the stream though. I just need to set my stop loss at break even. Sorry guys, I'm not using my magic keys at the moment. I need to set it up again. Okay, well I've ended up closing the whole trade instead of partials, but it's fine. Okay, so back to GJ, bullish on the 4 hour. Obviously we're going to have this clean range. I can see us maybe coming up to this level if we do get that 4 hour candle close above the resistance level. Let's look for some support on the lower time frames, because I can maybe see us forming some support in these sorts of areas. So if we drop down to the 1 hour, you can see, okay, over here we have some support levels that if we break below, obviously will be some riskier sells because we are at this bullish market structure, but still could be, you know, worthwhile. We are bullish in market structure on the 30-minute. This was our low created by this point over here. You can see we got that close above that level. So this is our new high, and then we look for the 2 candle pullback. Remember, 2 or more candles. So these are all pauses because these are 1 candle, 1 candle, 1 candle. Down here we have our 2 candle pullback. So it's below this level, that if we get a candle close below this level, will be bearish in market structure. And why does that play into the bigger picture and how we look at price action in general? Is because if we get the close below this level, we then have clean candles to the left. So then you have two confluences. You have the clean candles to the left, and you'll have your bearish structural flip, which obviously gives you an added confidence that sells could make a lot of sense. So guys, it all plays into each other. We know how important that is. You want to see structure on your side before taking any trades. I know a lot of people will be looking for earlier sells at resistance levels at these points over here, but for me, I'm just not interested in that at all. I'd rather wait for us to flip that structure, be patient, and then we will have really good sells below this level. It'll play into the bigger picture. So for me, I'll only be looking for sells at this point. Currently with what I'm looking at, sells below 156.093 and buys above 156.625, because if we look to the left on the 30 minutes, you can see we got the clean candles to the left. So we want to be trading into this as opposed to something like this. So I hope that makes sense. I'll type in here market recap. $3v1 bullish. So that makes my bias obviously bias, guys. I will be looking for bias. And where do I think good buys are going to come? I think good buys are going to come above this 156.625 level if we can get a candle close. Yeah, roughly 65. We do want to see the candle close about that level. Obviously, we know candle closes indicate that the resistance or support levels aren't being respected. If we do something like we've just done here, this is what you call obviously just an impulse if you were taking entries at this point, because you're not waiting for that candle close confirmation. What you're thinking is, okay, we've broken above this resistance level. That means we're just going to go. As opposed to, okay, we've seen the candle close above that level. What that indicates to us is that that's a confirmation that the resistance level is not held, as opposed to us just pushing through and not waiting for the candle to close. So that's obviously your risk of an impulse entry. And you can see people who would have taken that impulse entry obviously would have been in a little bit of trouble right now. Nothing too serious, but just, yeah. If there's one thing I can say going into this new year, guys, is just wait for candle closes. It's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. And yeah, you guys know now why we will be looking for the potential sells below this area, because remember, by getting a structural flip below this point over here, what that'll also then give us is a 2v2 buyers sellers market. So what that indicates then to us as well is that, okay, there's an equal amount of buyers and sellers in the market. And to be honest, for us to get back down to this point over here means that the sellers are obviously going to have to be quite prevalent in the market, meaning that, okay, that we can then start taking sells. Another thing I also look for is obviously if we want to get some buys at the best possible prices, is if we come down to this level, respect the structural flip level. So we come all the way back down to 156.093. Don't get a candle close below this level, but instead respect the support level. It's a very good indication that we can then start forming some support at this level and start taking some buys back up to the highs which we had created, and then further continue bullish. So that's also definitely something to look at on the lower time frames. You can get some really nice entries, and then what that ends up looking like is something like this to retest the highs. Please, if you haven't, guys, do remember to leave a like on the stream. It helps a lot. It's free, and yeah, thanks, I would appreciate it. Also subscribe if you aren't subscribed. So this is basically GJ for us, guys. If you have any questions, have any charts, anything like that, please send them into the Telegram. I'll check them out for you. If you want me to analyze any charts for you guys, I'll also do that for you, no problem. Can get into gold as well, guys. Let me just see. We have 15 minutes till London open. Honestly, I'm thinking we have pushed quite a lot. If you look on the 1 hour, we could be expecting some exhaustion just now. But if we also get the 1 hour candle close above this level, I think we could obviously find some rather easy buys above this level. So I will be looking for buys mainly at London Open. If we get the candle close above this 156.625 level, break the high of the previous candle high, and then respect the low of the previous candle low, and then continue bullish. We have the trading range to trade into, guys. So I think buys do make a lot of sense. Obviously, if we start respecting these sorts of resistance levels, it can then indicate that if we then break below this support level, that we could come down. Those are going to be your aggressive sells and obviously your counter trend sells. But we know those do often work out. They're just high risk, high reward. So you are going to be selling at the best possible price. But the problem is you're selling in a counter trending market. So you're selling in an uptrending market. So just do be aware of that. Obviously, if we look at the higher time frames, the weekly resistance forming, that sort of stuff plays into our favor. What I am obviously a bit concerned about is where this previous daily candle rejected. So what we can be expecting if we're going to continue bearish is a wick fill, a daily wick fill. What we'll do is fill this daily wick, come back down to this daily support level, and then continue bearish. Just all things to take into consideration. We are obviously at the beginning of the week, so we need to be thinking about literally anything that could play out this week. So your risky sell levels are obviously, I would base it on the 1 hour. This is going to be your risky sell level below 156.479. I would stay far away from this. I won't be taking sells below that level, but I know some people obviously would be a little bit tempted. If you look on the 30-minute time frame, you also have a support level right there, support level right there. So it's very choppy price action. Well, not choppy price action, but you just don't have the range to trade into. Ronan, you are a clown, my boy. But I appreciate it. Let's go. I'll come to Discord if we do have a trade, yeah. Okay, we have about 12 minutes until London Open, so I'll do a quick breakdown on gold, and then we can focus fully on GJ. Because gold, I don't think, except for what's already happened, we probably aren't going to have too much happening today, especially with that dollar holiday, but I would expect us to maybe fill this whole range. Okay, so on the weekly, you can see last week we formed that weekly support. Why did we form support at that level? Because the previous weekly, so not last week, the previous weekly, rejected a weekly support level. You can see we tapped into it, came to this level, rejected it. And again, if we go to last week, Monday on stream, what I was saying was I thought we were going to have a bullish week, because if we tapped into the zone and rejected it and closed all the way up here, strong indication that if we respect this weekly candle low, there's a good chance that we can continue. The only other problem we have on our hands here, which is why I'm a bit worried that we could start ranging a little bit on the weekly, is now we've rejected a weekly support level down here, and we've rejected a weekly resistance level up here. You can see we tapped into that and rejected it. So now what we obviously got to start thinking is, okay, we're only going to get that overall move or directional bias once we've broken either below the support level or above this resistance level. Until then, we're probably going to be playing around in this area over here, which isn't a problem, because if we drop down to low time frames, it's lots of trading range to trade into. But if we want to see, okay, where's gold probably going to be going in the long run, we need to break above this level or probably break below this level, the support which we've just formed, because obviously that forms support basically at a previous level of support after tapping into those levels. And this resistance level we've just rejected last week, towards the end of last week. And now if we break above that, it's a strong indication that we could obviously fill this weekly range and retest this high, which we had created a couple of months ago. So weekly doesn't tell us a lot, except that we're rejecting support and resistance on the weekly. Daily, you can see obviously we are rejecting this daily resistance, which is also that weekly resistance level. We formed this daily support, which was that weekly support level. And now what we're doing is, again, kind of forming this daily range. So we do need to be aware of that. I would be expecting that if we are going to continue bearish, we'd need to probably break below this level. You can see then we have the clean daily candles to the left. If we're going to continue bullish, very bullish, sorry, don't know why we're back on the weekly, we're going to need to break above this resistance level again. So that's the same as that weekly analysis. To find some earlier trades, we're going to need to be looking on the lower time frames. You can see on the 4 hour, we obviously had this 4 hour level of resistance. This covers just the wicks as well, that line, guys. So we got the 4 hour candle close above that level. Then we respected the previous low of the 4 hour low, indicating that there's lack of sellers pressure and an increase in buyers pressure. We also formed strong support. So again, those of you who were here at the beginning of the stream saw that I got an entry at the break of this 4 hour candle high, because we wicked down, giving us a technical stop loss, which on the lower time frames was obviously some support which had formed. And then we had the clean candles to the left, both on the 4 hour and the 1 hour, indicating that we should move up quite easily, and that's exactly what we did. If we look structurally, the weekly is obviously bullish market structure, so is the daily. This was our high point which created, we haven't exceeded that or created a new high. So that will remain our point which created our bullish market structure for a very long time. And 4 hour, we are obviously, let's see what we got here. This is our high point which created the high bullish market structure on the 4 hour as well. So again, this is why the buys made a lot of sense. We obviously had that bullish market structure in our favor. On the weekly, we are currently, sorry, on the 1 hour. What am I saying? Weekly. Yeah, we are bullish on the 1 hour as well. So buys made a lot of sense, guys. You can see also we formed some resistance on the 1 hour, very weak resistance. We actually had a weak doji candle form, which as well played into that buy taken earlier. So we had this weak resistance, and then this candle wicked down, respected the low of the previous 1 hour candle, and continued bullish. So quite an easy entry. I wasn't meant to close it so early, but I was messing around a little bit and closed. Still a good trade, got over 10 pips, so I'm happy with that. So if we are looking obviously at gold, taking some trades on gold, I'd be saying if we get a nice candle close above this level on the 1 hour, which closed in 7 minutes, so it's looking quite likely. Then we get a retest of this level and continuation. We can maybe get some buys up to 18. I'd say 1826 is a very fair level to say we could come up to. There's a chance of that. If we're looking for sells, we'd obviously need to start seeing some structure flips. And at the moment, we have a 4v0 bias, structural sort of bias. So I wouldn't be interested in sells probably until we get below. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, probably below this level. We obviously need to look then on the high time frames. What is that level? And you can see that is a 4 hour wick. And if we break below that 4 hour wick, you can see we have the range to trade into. So very technical level, makes a lot of sense that sells would work below that level. And you can see on the lower time frames, we have the clean candles as well, which is super important. So I'll be looking for potential sells below here. Obviously very early sells below this level right here once we form support, but this is going to be very, very counter trend. Let me just mark that in for you. And then obviously we go look on the 30-minute time frame. You can see that's a little bit of a previous range level, and we would obviously mark out the low of that. So if we can get a candle close below here, it's going to be very counter trend sales, but we have the clean candles to the left, and we know that gold does move in mysterious ways. So you do just need to be aware of that. So yeah, I have a very strong buyer's bias on gold, but we have obviously made quite a strong move already, mainly based on the 4 hour. I do think we can come up to 1826 level without a problem. Unless we obviously start rejecting this previous level of support and turn it into some resistance, and in that case then we can start coming back down. But yeah, today guys is a US bank holiday, so I'm much more interested in trading GJ than I am gold, although I have already taken a gold trade. GJ is gonna, looks like it's gonna have another one of those terrible pre-London closes where we close in the middle of a range and then the next candle just kind of does that. So we're gonna have to wait and see. I do want a candle close above this level, especially on the 30-minute, because that's going to indicate that, okay, we've broken out of this little range that we had on the 30-minute. You can see these candles were closing right next to each other, and now we have the clean candles to the left, indicating a possible bullish continuation. But the way that this candle is closing is it's basically saying we broke out of this range over here, closed straight back in the range, and now we could start playing around in here again. So just want to wait for a much cleaner break than what we've seen at the moment. Maybe something on the higher time frame. So 1 hour is also a straight rejection. You can see from this area of resistance. Doesn't help at all. Seems my boy, how you doing? I hope you're feeling better. I know you've been a bit under the weather recently, so I hope you're doing alright. Just waiting right now, guys. 3 minutes, and then we have London open. Try get a trade, but obviously not. If we don't find something decent, then gonna have to wait till NY. From I think this week, guys, I am gonna be doing some New York sessions as well. Streams on YouTube. So yeah. Please remember to leave a like on the stream, guys, if you have not already. Also, no charts in the Telegram this morning, which is a bit disappointing. Oh, we got something from Sharif here. Yep, pretty similar, Sharif. You're not scared of the 15-minute resistance on GJ? Let me check the 15-minute resistance. At this level over here, I'm hoping with London open volume, we just push straight through this, because we need to remember that 15-minute isn't very strong, you know, support or resistance. Once we go to the higher time frames, then obviously it's going to be resistances that hold a lot stronger and require a lot more volume. But now that we're getting the volume on the low with London open, we should push straight through a 15-minute resistance. Obviously, sometimes you do respect these levels, but we need to see how the candles close, to be honest. Good morning, hope you had a nice weekend. That'd be great if you could stream your sessions too. Yeah, no problem, Blip. I'll probably do it 3 times a week. So London's going to be every day, as per usual. Sorry. And then New York, I think I'm either going to do Tuesday or Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So just going to have to see how busy I am and that sort of thing. But I should be able to. Minutes or London open. Anyone who based the gold trade on the 30-minute, you would have had to have obviously taken into consideration we didn't have a bottom wick or a retest of this zone yet. All we had was a 4-hour confirmation of how we closed above resistance. Then we created our bottom wick, respecting lows of candles. Remember, guys, super important. Not respecting highs. Obviously, indication that we're going to continue bullish. And then we would have had our entry at the break of this 4-hour candle high. We obviously had the clean candle, so left another added confluence, and then we had all the structure in our favor. So lots of confluences in general for this trade. Was quite a straightforward trade. Obviously, if you're only looking at taking trades on the lower time frames, you wouldn't have been able to spot this. But if you look at multiple time frames for trade entries, then this is going to be quite an easy trade to catch. Obviously, when you are taking trades based on the daily or the 4-hour time frame, your technical stop loss levels are a lot higher, or a lot bigger, should I say. Let's see. Yeah. Another one of these pre-London candle closes in the middle of a range. I don't know what they expect us to do to do with these, but not interested at all. Unless we get... The only thing that I can think of is that we get a wick down and then obviously break of this 1-hour candle high, but by the time we get to this area up here, we're going to have pushed almost, let's see here, yeah, 10 pips already, and then our entry is going to be at that point. So yeah, very bad pre-landing candle open. Obviously we have we did close on a 15-minute level of support. Can take that into consideration, but let's see. Don't know if anyone else is looking at taking any trades on GJ at the moment, but I think because I took a gold trade this morning, I might play it safe and might wait for something a bit more concrete than this. Like, this is a very, very bad pre-London candle. Hasn't really indicated anything to us. I always do tell you guys I do like to see the pre-London candle basically form a catalyst candle and indicate to us, okay, which direction are we going to move in. So normally that comes in the form of a very strong bullish candle or very strong bearish candle closing above a level of resistance or below a level of support. And then what that indicates to us, especially after ranging like this, that's what you expect. But yeah, us closing straight back in the middle of a range doesn't indicate anything to us. Is 1824 based on the 1 hour time frame? Yeah, so obviously if you like, for me, I definitely wouldn't, if this is the time frame that I'm taking the entry on, I'm not going to only close at this level up here. I'm going to look on the lower time frames to then see, okay, where could a possible place, you know, for a TP placing be, or where am I going to secure profits? And that's always at the same sort of area, so 15 pips, 20 pips. But this is probably where my final TP would have been. Again, I did close the trade a bit early, which was my fault, you know, no one else to blame but myself. But yeah, I do see definitely a possibility of that bullish continuation. I think GJ after closing in this sort of situation, we could see ourselves ranging maybe until New York. But yeah, just gonna have to wait and see. Gold, if we break this 1 hour candle high, will definitely most likely continue. You can see we closed above this 1 hour resistance level. Now, I do like basing gold trades on the 1 hour higher than the 30-minute, like 1 hour or 4 hour time frames, just because gold moves so weirdly that, okay, on GJ and things like that, you need to take into consideration 30-minute time frame in particular. But on gold, if you base your trades on the 1 hour time frame, you're going to get a lot more confirmation out of your positions for sure. Just something to look at. GJ, yeah, nothing really to do on GJ. Gold's looking better than GJ right now, and we're on holiday. Yeah, so this is at 1824 level that obviously you need to be aware of if you are planning on taking any trades on gold. 30-minute resistance level, we do know how those can be quite tricky and that we can obviously resist those sorts of levels. But yeah, just be aware of that. So probably have both marked out. Obviously, if you are going to base it on the higher time frames and you are looking for a much bigger move overall, just be sure to either move your stop loss to break even or secure some sort of partials along the way. Don't try and aim for this and only say, or be so stubborn to say that I will only secure profits once we get to this level over here, because we have clean candles on the 4 hour. We may eventually get to that level, but it may take longer. When you enter a trade based on the current candle passing the previous candle wick, would you wait that it passes the previous candle wick by a pip or two, or do you execute as close as possible? Usually I wait for about at least a pip, because I talk about it quite often that you don't want it to basically get to this level and then you take an entry and it basically is just broken above and then comes straight back down. It happens quite a lot. So if you see often a break by maybe a pip or a pip and a half, it is kind of an indication that, okay, that level has not been respected anymore, and that it's not like a little pop above and then back down. So yeah, definitely, I wouldn't say enter exactly on as you see it with your eye, like as it breaks a high. I'd say enter maybe a pip above if you could. What if current 30-minute closed bearish and next support? Would you consider a trade? Yeah, so what that's going to start doing then is, obviously, we've now had this strong push. This will be our exhaustion, basically our pullback. Now, if we pull back to a previous level of support, so if we get down to this level and then form some support at that level, what that's going to indicate to us is that, okay, now we have an opportunity to retest the high. Obviously, what we'll need to do is then break above that support candle high, respect that support candle low, and then we can obviously scale back in, because then we're going to have the clean candles to the left. Honestly, what I love to see after such strong moves is a nice strong pullback, because what that provides us with is obviously more trading range. So even if we come all the way back down to this level, I'm not going to be worried about missing a sell, because I know that if we maintain this bullish market structure, then we're going to be able to get these buys back up to the top quite easily. So that's why even if we come down to this 156 level over here, guys, so if we have now had this strong bullish push and we slowly start making our way all the way down to this level, within this level over here, sorry, within this move down here, there's probably going to be some areas where we can find trades. So that's going to be above these resistance levels. Obviously, if we have enough trading range to the left. And then in that case, we can scale into positions once we break above those levels. So that's what I'll be looking for. So certainly, yeah. See what gold's doing. Straight rejection. We are at a previous level of support, you can see over here. So it could be turning that into resistance, or we could just be doing a proper retest of this zone over here to further continue. And again, that plays into the importance of securing profits, guys. If you're up, let's say, 20 pips by this stage, and you still wanted to see it hit 1826 or even 1824 and you didn't secure profits, and now you're coming back down towards your entry and you're thinking, I wish I had, it's just a good lesson to remember that you need to secure profits to be a profitable trader. There's no other sort of way to do it. You need to secure profits. Yeah, not a huge amount happening on GJ, guys. We are obviously now rejecting the support level, and there's just no trade at the moment. You can't take a trade in these sorts of market conditions how we currently are. Gold was looking a little bit better, but obviously now it's forming some resistance. And again, guys, similar idea on gold. If you do want to maybe take a trade in this uptrending market, so obviously we talk about buying at resistance and selling, buying at support and selling at resistance, but you can only obviously do that in the right trending market. So if you want to buy at support, make sure you're trending upwards, because if you're trying to buy, bad example, if you're trying to buy at support in a downtrending market, what's going to happen is you're going to take your buy at this support level over here, you're going to come up to this resistance level over here, and it's probably going to react to continue that overall trend. So you need to make sure you're taking a buy in an uptrending market, so that when you get to these support levels or get down to basically these previous levels of support and start forming support there, then it's a fair enough opportunity to take a buy at a level of support because you're in the uptrending market. So it doesn't make sense to then break those support levels. But you get a lot of people who literally say buy at support, sell at resistance, doesn't matter, you know, what sort of market you're in. Because those are the people who often, you know, are blowing accounts, that sort of stuff, because they have no way of analyzing structure, no understanding of structure. So you do need to obviously have a full understanding of structure to know which sort of market you're in. And then you can say, okay, if we form support down at this level over here, and then start having the candle confirmations to continue bullish, it makes a lot more sense than if we're going down like this, and then we get to this support level, and we say, wow, this will be a great opportunity for a buy, because all that's going to happen is we're going to pop up a little bit, form that lower high, like we've done so many times before, retest a low, and then form a new low. That is how the markets work. It is super, super repetitive, and you see it over and over again. So just be aware of that. GJ coming down. I want to see as big a pullback as possible, guys. I couldn't care less if I miss this whole move over here, because if we maintain the structural level, the bullish market structure, I will certainly be able to find buys back up to these sorts of levels for sure, without a doubt. That's if we get the candle confirmations. So I'll be waiting on that. Obviously, you guys know I don't like taking counter trend trades whatsoever, or trading against my structural bias. So just gonna rather play it safe. Even if we start breaking below these levels, you can see we have the clean candles here to trade into. So this is obviously where your more aggressive traders, your cowboys, are gonna come in and start taking some trades below that level. You could even have some people taking trades below this level, but that's not how I trade at all, and not how I like to teach trading either at all. I think when you trade, you need to give yourself the best possibilities and the best probabilities to make money, and taking counter trend trades is certainly not doing that. How's it, Luke? How are you doing? Was there ever a period where you expected to close above resistance or below support without considering wicks? Yeah, so when I used to mark my zones, I have changed how I mark my zones a little bit recently, but a lot of people, when they see this resistance, I'll just take this away, they see this resistance and what they think is that's the resistance level over there. But what a wick is on the lower time frames, there's resistance in these wicks. So obviously you're giving yourself the best opportunity if you close above all these resistance levels on the lower time frames. So I did used to obviously have a bit more aggressive approach, and I also have two ways of looking at it. You can be an aggressive chart marker, so that would be this. You mark your charts like this. So now if you get a candle close above this level, even if it doesn't close all the way above this wick, then you think, okay, the resistance is not being respected. So that's more of a Roger Banks approach. This is exactly how he marks his resistance and support levels. He'll mark it halfway up the wick, because by having a candle close above this level, it indicates that it's the highest candle close, and that we should continue bullish if we then have the correct candle structure after that. The conservative approach is obviously you mark the top of the wick, and that way you're taking into consideration all the possible resistance levels within that wick as well, because a wick is basically saying we can reject anywhere in that region. So you have aggressive and sort of passive chart marking. This would be your aggressive marking. That's how I would look at it, and I think aggressive marking is really good when you have times of high volume. So during London Open, I would definitely mark my charts like this. But if we're in a low volume time, I would mark it up there, because that indicates, okay, if we get the candle close above that level, there's literally nothing stopping us from really correcting that move. So aggressive and passive marking for sure. Same as the support level over here, you could obviously mark it as just there. That would be the most aggressive you can get. So you're literally taking the body level. You could take the middle level, or you could take the bottom level, so that if you look left, all you literally see is clean candles. And that's how I advise all beginner traders to look at it, because it minimizes and mitigates the risk factor. By marking higher up, the higher you go, the more risk you're going to have, because then obviously you got the wicks to the left. So I hope that answers your question. But yeah, two ways of marking charts in my opinion, aggressive and passive. Coming down pretty well on GJ, which is great. Put my line just above the last wick, just play it safe, and that's perfect, to be honest. If you mark your charts with the lowest possible point or the highest possible point with the wicks, then I would say that that is mitigating risk as much as possible. You're minimizing your risk, because then if you see the candle close below that level or above that level, it makes a lot of sense. The only thing then you do with that is the less your risk, obviously you have more possibility of missing opportunities. So in this situation, if you saw a candle close just above that level and your area was marked above there, you wouldn't consider that a trade opportunity, because you haven't closed above your wick. Whereas if you're taking the aggressive approach and it closes above this level, now you see this as a trade opportunity, because it's the highest closing candle in that area. So it's technically closed above the body resistance level, but hasn't closed above the wick. But if you're an aggressive trader, you would consider that a situation where resistance hasn't been respected. So it's just two ways of looking at it and how confident and comfortable you're feeling at the charts. Obviously, the more confident you get, I would say the more you're going to be able to move that around. On average, how many good setups do you see in a month? Lots. I'd say at least 1 or 2 a day. So what's that? Maybe 40. If you take into consideration your trading days, is about 22 on average trading days a month. So I'd say 40, sometimes 50 good opportunities. Do I execute on all of them? Definitely not. Last week, I think I took 5 trades, maybe 4 trades. I don't even think it was 1 a day, which is why I let that one on Friday run so much longer. Saw a really good opportunity. Let's see how you analyze gold. I will do a quick top-down analysis just because Luke asked on gold. Sorry for anyone who's seen this already. You have Luke to blame for that. So basically, last week we closed bullish. So weekly market structure is bullish. Only problem we have right now is our weekly support level we have tapped into and rejected, and our weekly resistance level we've now tapped into and rejected as well. So this could be the start of a weekly range, or we're not really going to know the overall directional bias until we break either above this level over here or below this level over here. Obviously, there's going to be trading opportunities on the lower time frame, so we drop down to daily, have this daily resistance level respecting, daily support level respecting. So this is now our daily range. Daily market structure is also bullish, remember, because if we look at the high which was created in November, this is the point which created the high, we have not exceeded that point. So we're only going to be bearish below this area over here, or unless we get a new high and then we look for the 2 candle pullback which created this high, which could come at these sorts of levels. We just don't know that yet. So bullish market structure, obviously in the daily range, we need to be aware of that. Going to drop down to 4 hours to see if we can find some areas to mark out to trade in. Obviously we have the support level. You can see now we're moving quite strong bullish, guys, and we have this resistance level. I had marked out this resistance level and seen this 4-hour candle close above that level, and then taken an entry at the break of that 4-hour candle close. So it's basically our type B for the members who know what a type B is on the 4-hour time frame. So you can use those on the 4-hour time frame. So what you would have had is that marked out. You can see we closed above that level, tapped into that level, so that's your retest on the low time frame, some low time frame support form, and now we're moving bullish. We also had the clean candles to the left. So that was our most relevant resistance level. I would say our most relevant support level is going to be down here. If you look on the lower time frames, we don't really have too much range to trade into any earlier, but if we break below this level, we have all this range as well as all the clean traffic on the lower time frames as well. It's going to be structural flip levels as well. We have the highs over here, and on the lower time frames we will get our structural flip below these levels. Obviously on the 4-hour, our structure flips only can come below here because this is our high. We look for the 2 candle pullback that came over here. So 4-hour structure is still currently bullish. Daily, weekly, 4-hour all bullish. Drop down to the 1 hour. We are also currently bullish on the 1 hour. You can see we had our high created over here, point which created the high. We have not exceeded that point, so we're still bullish on the 1 hour. I would say that if we're looking for buys now, obviously I thought a really good opportunity if you miss your original buys was at the break of this 1 hour candle high. What you do obviously have to be aware of is we haven't retested this zone fully yet on the lower time frame. So this could still wick down a little bit lower, but I would say now that we've broken this high, there's a good chance that we could continue maybe till 18, what we are now, 1822, maybe 1824. Just gonna have to wait and see a little bit. And we are also bullish on the 1 hour time frame. So very bullish market structure. I'd say buys is what I would be looking at until we start getting some bearish market structure flips, which are going to come at these sorts of levels over here. If this was our high, which we had created on the 1 hour, we're only going to be bearish below this level. And then that plays into our 4 hour clean candles, and on the 1 hour, that's also clean candles. So wait for a candle close below this level over here. So that's gold. Very interested to see what GJ does. And if you are taking gold entries at this point, please guys, you do need to be aware that your technical stop loss level is below this candle. You shouldn't break this candle's low once you've broken this candle's high. And obviously we've pushed quite bullish. So this should be your technical stop loss. If this is your stop loss level, make sure that you don't just let price come down and only let it hit your stop loss. I want to see some risk management, some trade management. So that's obviously going to be done on the lower time frames, breaking the much lower time frame candle lows and highs. So that's going to be your 5 minutes and your 15 minutes, maybe 15 minutes on gold. There's definitely a lot of risk management opportunities in this trade. You can see you have all these lows over here. So you drop down to 5 minutes, you have even more areas to manage risk. So please do be aware of that. It's quite nice looking on the 5 minute. We are creating these higher lows and higher highs. Always an indication that we could definitely continue bullish. Also now closed above this 5 minute level of resistance. We were ranging a little bit on the 5 minute. But obviously we know 5 minutes very touch and go when it comes to confirmations. Very, very. So I'd be expecting maybe a push up until, we can look on 30 minutes. Yeah, maybe 1825, 1824, around that level. Or we could just start playing around in, could start playing around in this sort of area over here. GJ, not much to say about GJ. Didn't take any sells, guys. 2 counter trend for my liking. Obviously, I know some people may have, just based on how London moves and closing below the body level here. Another good example of aggressive and passive marking. Most people who are marking it passively would have marked around there. Aggressive markers probably would have marked around here, or even the body level. So yeah guys, basically just waiting for either this candle to close on a previous level of support, and then we form some support on the following candle. Otherwise, yeah, just gonna have to wait till New York session, because I don't see too much happening on either of these pairs. Gold's probably your best bet for any moves at this current moment. Only thing, well, obviously, except for already taking an entry on gold, the only thing putting me off a little bit is obviously we haven't fully retested this level of resistance and turned it into support. What I like to see and what I think is a very good confirmation is once we tap into these areas. You can see here we haven't really tapped into that area. So chances of continuation obviously are a little bit lower, but still high. Will there be New York session this week? Yeah, so I'm thinking either New York sessions are going to start happening Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or Tuesdays and Thursdays. I should probably, I don't know with you guys which ones would probably suit better, but I think that I definitely won't be able to do a New York session tomorrow, that's for sure. So I might start maybe from Wednesdays or start it on Thursday. I could do maybe Thursday and Friday this week, but obviously let you guys know in the Telegram the days that it will be happening. But yeah, those will certainly start from this week onwards. GJ coming down, which is really, really good, especially if we want to get some entries back up to the top. What I'd love to see is obviously a rejection of one of these areas over here, or even this area over here, or obviously then you get the support level. So I'm just looking for rejection at these key levels. So previous levels of resistance to turn those into support. So that's basically your break and retest, or previous level of support to form support on. So that's going to be something like over here, or something like down here, and then that overall continuation to retest the highs. That's what I want to see. Whether we're going to get it or not, I don't know. We're also going to have to take into consideration the higher time frames. On the 1 hour, we're still very bullish, so just waiting. Obviously, there does come a bit of a problem when if this 4 hour candle starts forming some 4 hour resistance, because then what that obviously shows us is that we have 4-hour resistance forming on a previous level of 4-hour resistance, and 4-hour resistance and support levels are quite strong. So what we could then see is us come back down to these levels. In that case, we'll have our structure flip at this level, and then we can obviously look for some sells. That's why I think potential sells above this 150, below this 150.6093 could make a lot of sense. We just need to see that 30-minute structure flip. Again, we're going to be in a 3v1 sort of situation there, but at least we have one time frame which has that bearish market structure. And then you need to look at the other things like, okay, where are resistance levels? Do we have the clean candles? Look at higher and lower time frames, guys. A lot of people do base trading on one time frame, and I have to try and, you know, tell you guys that you can't do that. You need to have an understanding of all time frames. It's going to give you your best chances of making winning trades, taking winning trades. So you need to analyze all time frames before actually taking trades. If we are going to continue bearish, guys, which I think if we break this weekly low, there's a good chance that we can correct a lot of this move. That's where I'll be looking for some long-term holds, kind of like what I did at this point over here. We respected this previous weekly candle low, formed some strong support. I don't know if you guys remember me taking the buys above this level. I did post it on the Telegram. Basically, you got a majority of this move over here. Then we obviously came back down, but then still ended up correcting the whole move altogether. But these are your type of opportunities where you can take some long-term holds and get some really good return out of them. You obviously do have to have a little bit more leniency on your stop loss, the amount of pips that your stop loss is going to be. Still manage the trade. I don't mean leniency by just let it go and keep moving your stop loss, but what you need to understand is that if you're taking trades based on the weekly time frame, your stop loss is more than, you know, it's probably going to have to be based on the daily or the weekly time frame. So if this wick down happened and then we broke the high, this is where my stop loss is going to have to be, which is going to be huge compared to if you're taking trades based on the lower time frames. But then all you need to do is obviously lower your risk. So you do that by lowering your lot size a lot. So my normal lot size, which I use, is about a 15 to a 20. For that trade, I took a 5. So it was a third, even a fourth of what I normally take, because my stop loss was a lot bigger than usual. Gold still moving pretty slowly. Expected though. Bank holiday, not much to do there. And GJ, I want to see how this candle closes. It closes in about a minute and a half. So if we can close on a previous level of support, so if we do close basically anywhere in here, I'll be expecting maybe some support to form, and then we can go back up, or we can maybe come down a little bit more, get down to these sorts of levels. The bigger the move down, I'll be quite happy with that. So just gotta wait and see. Still no charts in Telegram, guys. Very, very disappointed by all the Telegram members. I've got actually one from Sharif. Would you consider a 50-minute support close, or better wait for 30? 30 is going to be a lot higher confirmation. 15 especially. Okay, if the 15 closes very strong bullish and not weak bullish and form support, then okay, there's a bit more of a confirmation, because you need to look at the size of the candle. Is it going to be a strong support on the 15? Otherwise, 15-minute can be very low confirmation. So you can see here we have quite a strong 15-minute support level form here on a previous level of 15-minute support. Also, if we go to the 30-minute, this is where our 30-minute support level was, more or less, that whole region. So it wouldn't be a bad idea. It's just going to be higher risk than if we wait for the 30. So there's no wick down either on this new 15-minute candle, and we're about to break the high of the previous 15-minute candle. I'm not too interested in taking buys just yet, but this would be, if you're an aggressive trader and want to take an aggressive entry, this could be a pretty good buy opportunity. Obviously, at the moment, the stop loss level is probably going to have to be below this 15-minute candle. You can't really place it below this 15-minute candle because we don't even have a bottom wick yet. Could be a repeat of last week and expect moves in NOS session, but bank holiday, yeah, exactly. If you guys are looking at taking any fundamental sorts of moves today, so any trades based on the news, there's a lot of Chinese news. I don't know if anyone trades that. Then we obviously have some yen news, and other than that, it's a US bank holiday. So anyone trading any US dollar based pairs is not going to be moving as usual, but it still does have some volume. And then tomorrow we can see what we're in for over the next few days. So we got some very high impact yen news. Tomorrow there's a lot of news based on the yen and the pound. Got to be careful of that, of course. We also have some US dollar news, medium impact, so nothing too serious. And then later on in the week we have CPI on the pound, and then Governor Bailey is chatting. And Governor Bailey, his chats normally do a little something to the markets, so just got to be aware of that. Yeah, so at the moment, straight rejection on GJ. Obviously would have been a lot safer to wait for a wick down and then continuation up. But again, that is the 50-minute time frame. I do much rather prefer to trade on the 30 minutes. So wait for a 30-minute support to form, and then we can see what we're going to do. But the way that this 30-minute candle is opened without a bottom wick, so the same as the 15, there's a very low possibility that this is just going to continue without its bottom wick. But yeah, we certainly could have a lot more volume coming into New York for the rest of the week, for sure, Sharif. So just got to be aware of that. In these sorts of market conditions, okay, gold is playing out quite nicely, but in these sorts of market conditions on especially GJ, guys, I can't stress enough that just waiting pays in these sorts of situations. Like this, taking a trade in this sort of setup, there's nothing you can really say that there's confirmation of anything. If you're taking a sell based on this, there's no confirmation. If you're taking a buy based on this, there's no confirmation except for that you're in bullish market structures. So then what you kind of basing your trade on is that, you know, eventually we should move bullish because of the structure. But if you're basing it on candle confirmations, which is what we need for the technical levels, such as stop losses, TPs, and all that sort of thing, there is no technical reasons for taking a trade. So let's just wait to either form support on a previous level of support, or break below support levels and start flipping some structure bearish if we want to take the sells. Otherwise, we need a break above 156.634. Probably going to be live for about another 10 minutes or so, guys. So if we do have any last questions, anything like that, please send it in. Any charts, any pairs you want me to analyze before I end, please, yeah, send that in. Also remember to sub if you aren't subbed, like if you haven't liked, Telegram in the description, Instagram in the description, all that sort of stuff. See how this 1 hour candle closes as well. We could close below this 1 hour level of support, but I'm more concerned about the 30 minute. Gold is moving nicely, so I do see a strong possibility of retesting these sorts of levels, without a doubt. I do think though at some stage we might have a proper retest of this 1 hour resistance level. Just gonna have to wait though. Cheers, Luke. Thank you for supporting the stream. I will see you I don't think there's going to be a New York session today. It might be, the next possible one will be on Wednesday. I definitely can't do New York tomorrow, so yeah, I think it's going to have to be on Wednesday. But otherwise, I will see you for London tomorrow morning. So London, I will still stream tomorrow. No trades again for London. Gold, I'm classing as pre-London trade. That. Just gonna post that on Instagram. Sorry guys, just not much to do on the charts. GG moves like AJ, and I think there will be a sell confirmation on the 1 minute. Do you trade the 1 minute? I don't trade the 1 minute, so unfortunately I can't say whether I think that's valid or not. I focus on trading 30-minute or higher, sometimes 50-minute, but certainly not lower time frames. I feel like there isn't enough confirmation in a 1 minute candle or even a 5 minute candle to be taking trades. You know, well, certainly not holding them for a long time because very low confirmation. But if it works for you, it works for you. Not going to say it's wrong because I don't know. It's nice now that we are forming some support on the 30-minute guys. Obviously, this store has another 22 minutes to close this candle, so a lot can change in that time. But let's wait for, if we do get this 30-minute support form at this point, then we can definitely see a retest of this high if we then break the 30-minute high. And within this 30-minute candle, what we need to see, guys, is some lower time frame resistance. So what that would be your 5-minute and your 15-minute resistance, and then possible continuation. Now that you have your bottom wick on the 15-minute, it would have made a lot more sense. But again, super aggressive. It's a Monday. Not really too interested in taking aggressive trades. Took one trade already, so pretty happy with that. I will also be posting a video about the GJ trade taken on Friday, guys. I just need to finish editing it. I have recorded it, just need to finish editing it. Probably be up end of tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. But yeah, so probably gonna sorry, would you say market structure is the most important thing to focus on? Then after that is candle formations. I'd certainly say market structure is the most important part of trading, in my opinion. Then candle confirmation, support and resistance is, you don't even need to, support and resistance is probably the easiest thing to understand about trading. It's literally a level. So if you can get a close above or below these levels, anyone can mark out support and resistance. That is super easy, but to identify market structure takes quite a lot of time, and you need to know exactly what to look for. And then that allows you to trade with the trend. So I'd certainly say market structure is the most important aspect to trading. Well, certainly the way I trade. And then candle confirmations, of course, as well. Because without the candle confirmations, again, we can be in this uptrending market. But what's stopping us from, if we're buying at this point up here, and then we come all the way down to here to then move up, you are then going to be holding all this drawdown. So you obviously don't want to be doing that. What you want to be doing is getting the buys at the best possible position. So that would be waiting for price to come down, form some support here, maintain that bullish market structure, and then that tells us, okay, now that we formed support on a previous level of support, still have that 4v0 market structure bullish, that there's a very good chance that we're going to retest the highs. How's the PIV? How are you doing? So yeah, market structure is certainly the most important aspect of trading. I do stress that quite a lot. Candle confirmations are way more important though for your entries. So when you're looking at entries, so actually executing the trade, market structure gives you a view of what you want. So if you want buys or sells, that's what market structure shows you. Now, the candle confirmations or candle formations, they allow for your entries. And that's also obviously where you got to correlate it with your support and resistance areas. So that's super important with that. So candle confirmations tell us, okay, if we get a candle close above this level, and then the next candle retests that level and then wicks down and then continuation, then of course you're going to have that continuation bullish. That's your candle confirmation. Glad to see you succeed in trading. Thank you, Biff. I do appreciate that. Got about 3 minutes left, guys. So any last questions, anything, send it. Are you still in SA? I am still in SA, yeah. Planning on possibly going to the UK for a couple months this year. Just need to obviously sort out a few things. Also, if COVID is still going to be an issue with travel at the moment, it's not, which is great. But it's such a nice time of the year to be in Cape Town, so definitely not going to be leaving now. And hopefully they don't put those travel restrictions back in, because it just makes everything a mission to do. Do you live stream and explain the trading stuff every day? Yeah, I do a London session every day, so 9:30 South African time till 9:30 South African time till whenever, basically. Definitely through London Open and then till around now usually. And then I'm gonna start doing the New York sessions which start at 3:30 South African time. So I will probably, they start at 2:30 South African time. New York opens at 3. So that'll happen maybe on the odd day. So that'll probably be like a Tuesday or Thursday or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Just depends. But London session is every day. Okay guys, so before I head, quick recap on what we're looking at on both pairs that I trade. So it's going to be still looking for buys on gold, but what I want to see, obviously we've made quite a strong push already. We broke above this resistance area. What we can now wait for is maybe get up to this level. It's way too late to try take entries now. You know, you're going to be certainly buying at the highs. So there's not a good chance of that playing out very well. But what you want to see is maybe form some resistance at this level and then come down to a previous level of support and buy it back up. Obviously for that you want to see the candle formation, so it's going to look something like that, and then you want to break through a level of minor resistance after forming some support. So definitely looking for buys on gold unless we get some structural flips, but that's only going to come much later. And on GJ, also looking for buys at the moment. I do possibly see sells coming below this sort of level over here, but obviously we still have a long way to go to get there. But I do see us very bullish, and you can see now we have formed some support. We've respected this support level. We're basically ranging at the moment. What we could start doing is forming a range before New York Open and then continue bullish. Gold close at break even. Well managed trade, to be honest. If you're closing it at break even, you've accepted that, you know, it's not gonna continue and you're not willing to take a loss. So I'd say closing at break even is much better than taking a loss. So well done on that, Sharif. Still plenty of opportunities throughout the day for sure. Keep an eye out for GJ. I'll certainly say buys above 156.625. Our possibility, we got the clean candles to the left to trade into. That will be also waiting for a clear candle close above this level of resistance, guys. We don't want to be taking impulses, especially from the lows down here. It's going to be too far to have to move. We can then expect some exhaustion. So maybe what we'll get is a push up to the top of the range, a bearish candle. That's our pause, exhaustion, candle close above, and then continuation. So that's what I'll be looking for. Otherwise, I was expecting a bit more of a bearish push and then buying it from lower. But you can see we didn't get that. We kind of formed support right here, which does obviously go with our overall bullish trend. But yeah, that's what I'll be looking for. Keep in mind the bullish market structure on both pairs right now. We are obviously going to have bearish moves within the bullish market structure, but it's all going to be counter trend, so I won't be interested. But yeah, remember your clean candles, remember your candle setups, and remember your market structure. And I will see you guys on tomorrow morning. I'll see you guys same time tomorrow morning. Have a great rest of your day. Trade safely. Join the Telegram. Links in the description if you haven't already. It is free. Like and subscribe if you haven't already as well, please, guys. And have a great rest of your day. Message me on the Telegram group if you guys need anything. Telegram, guys, I will be chatting to you, of course, throughout the day. I will actually try to send some charts in for New York today. I've been quite slack on that recently. So for all the guys in Telegram, I'll certainly try and do that for gold and GJ. But yeah, thanks for a great stream, guys, and yeah, have a great rest of your day.